How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Today we're taking a look at Virgin Galactic and why I think that it could 10x or 15x or 20x your money. And I'll be honest, I have not done enough research up until this point, before today really, to have a good idea of what kind of returns you could expect in Virgin Galactic. I'll be honest, I still work my full-time job. I do a lot on YouTube and I have some other businesses that are being started up, and I don't have as much time to take a look at all the different stocks that I want. But after looking at Virgin Galactic over the last day or so, I am really bullish on this company. Now, of course, right off the bat, I am going to say it's highly speculative. I'm going to go through why that is, but I have a very good feeling if they can do just a tenth of what they want to do, I feel like this is going to be one of the best companies to invest in over the next 10 years or so. So we're going to go through that. We're going to talk about the long-term catalysts. So where could this company be 10 years from now, 20 years from now? Then we'll also talk about some things that can happen in the next few months that could push the stock price up and give you some nice short-term gains. So, of course, right off the bat, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a stock analyst. So do your own research on this. Don't just believe me what I say. But there have been some companies and some individuals, investing firms that have come out pretty bullish on Virgin Galactic. So we're going to go over that too. Before we get started, if you guys don't mind hitting the like button, I really appreciate it. This is a double upload day. So, any kind of support you can offer is great. Also, if you want some free stocks with WeBull, they are offering 2 free stocks worth up to $1,600 just for a few more days. And if you want to support the channel and support my girlfriend too, because she's getting a cut of this, if you want some cool merch down below, you can definitely check that out. So thank you guys, and let's get into it. Virgin Galactic is sitting at about $21.40. And it's been up and down over the last couple years. You can see here all the way down to $7.22. Went up huge. It went up to about $37, $38 a share, then kind of has leveled off and sat around $15 to $25 recently. So I'll be honest, I had not checked this out too much until today, and I was watching some of Trevor Investing's videos, so you can check him out. I'll actually leave a link to him in the description below, but he does a lot of videos on Virgin Galactic, and I wanted to see after he put out this video just a day ago, why he put $5,000 worth in Virgin Galactic. I was very curious because he is someone that has a significant amount of money in the market, multiples of what I have, and he's younger. He was able to pick Tesla kind of out of the weeds, a couple other really good growth company, and he has just done great with his investments over time. So I wanted to take a look at why he was so bullish on Virgin Galactic. So after watching his videos, I found out there are some important things coming up short term and long term for the stock. So he's holding long term, but I want to go over why I think and how I think we can make a lot of money in Virgin Galactic. And I'll be honest, I'm probably going to invest sometime this week in Virgin Galactic. I haven't decided how much because I am buying a house. I'm in the process of finding a house right now. I might have actually moved that process along today, but I want to take a look at it. So first of all, Bank of America came out with this just a little while ago, a few weeks ago now, why they think it will soar 113%, and they gave a handful of different reasons. So first of all, they put a buy rating on Virgin Galactic and put a $35 price target. This is really interesting because a lot of these stock analysts, a lot of them have kind of lower ratings and lower targets on a lot of these growth companies from what I've seen. A lot of them are like bearish on companies like Tesla, for example. And a lot of them are saying the stock price should be $100 or $200 when it's already sitting at $400, $450. So to see this with a buy rating on a company that's so speculative is quite interesting. So if we scroll down, you can kind of take a look, and I won't cover all these in great length, but a lack of competition. So if you don't know what Virgin Galactic does, they are trying to commercialize spaceflight. They're trying to bring people up into space and get people to buy tickets to do that. So first of all, they don't have much competition. There aren't really any other companies that are public that are in this space. So it says here the only suborbital space tourism competitor is Blue Origin, but they have never flown any passengers. if you go down, you can see extraordinary growth potential. So they're just saying that there is a huge market for this. They are pretty cheap right now, and there's a lot of growth. So that is something that's definitely worth considering. And I'll go more into that later because I want to go through how we can kind of guesstimate the price based on potential sales. So we'll go through that in a second. They have a really good management team. So they say here that the CSO, so Chief Space Officer, had spent 20 years at NASA, and the CEO spent 30 years at Disney in their park system. So they have a lot of great people on their management team that should be able to help propel this company forward. It's very important in a company like this too that they have that great management team because they are doing something very difficult here. So it's very important that they have good people in place to help that along. And they're also talking about how they have vertical integration capabilities. So they are the only company in the world that designs and builds its own aircraft end to end. So a lot of companies will contract some of that out. A lot of them will buy other aircrafts and then do modifications on it. But they are doing this end to end that will help them save money long term, but then also give them more control over the process. They also talk about this huge addressable market. So I'll be honest, at first I thought, how many people are going to be willing to pay the money to go up in these flights? And they are going to charge around $250,000 to start per ticket. First, I thought that this was pretty high, but then I realized, okay, this company is offering something that you will probably never get to do unless you go with this company. It is pretty expensive to do just in general. So it can't be brought down to $1,000 a ticket or anything like this, and it would be a once in a lifetime experience. So I thought maybe this isn't too bad a price. And after running my numbers, I'm quite excited because, as they say here, there's about 2 million people worldwide that have a net worth over $10 million. There are a lot of people that have a net worth between $1 and $10 million that also might be willing to do this. Let's say they're in their final years or they've always wanted to go up into space. This is another market, but let's just look at the $10 million plus market. There are 2 million people that have this. Well, if we take 1% of those people, so just 20,000 people, let's say they get 20,000 people a year that want to go up in one of these vehicles. You might be saying that's too high, that's too low. Let's just say 1%, right? At $250,000 per ticket and at 20,000 passengers a year, that's $5 billion of revenue. That is quite interesting. And this is not the only thing that they're working on. So this is what they're really well known for, but they are also looking at getting into hypersonic flight. And if you don't know, Ark Invest made this article and talked about how this is a $270 billion market. Their points, and I've read this whole thing, and what they lay out here is basically if the travel time is less than 7 hours, it doesn't make sense to have one of these hypersonic flights. So if it's less than 7 hours, people don't really want to pay for it. However, if it's over 7 hours, which is about 15% of private plane rides, if it's over that time period, then it's worth it to people. People will be paying and will be willing to pay a lot more. They broke down the cost, and I won't go through all that because it's pretty in depth here. So what they basically found was there are 4.5 billion passengers that flew in 2018. 15% of these flights were 7 hours plus, and then 0.4% of these passengers fly private. So there are about 2.7 million private plane rides that go over 7 hours. So that means that at $100,000 a pop, so they would charge about $100,000. That's what they figured out the passengers would actually be willing to pay to save that time. They would be having about a $270 billion a year market. And you might be thinking, who would pay $100,000? Well, there are a lot of wealthy people that are willing to pay for the convenience. So one of these flights from New York to Japan would save you about 10 hours. So instead of 13 hours, it would be 2 to 3 hours. A lot of people are willing to pay that. I mean, think about all the billionaires that $100,000 to them isn't anything. I mean, that might be what they make in an hour, in a day, maybe less than that, maybe, somewhere in there where it's really not important. It's like a cup of coffee to you and me. And to save 10 hours of time, that's huge. So there is a huge market for this. And let's say they just get 1% of that addressable market. Let's say that they can create the planes and they just get 1% of that market that actually converts over to their hypersonic system. Well, that's $2.7 billion in annual revenue. That's huge. I mean, like we said, $5 billion for the other market. And again, that's assuming 1% of people do this that are in the addressable market for either of these. That's about $7.5 billion a year. And I think Ark Invest realizes that this is a very high potential company. And if you've looked at some of their holdings, they have about $11.3 million in Virgin Galactic. So I think that's really important to know. But then I kind of got thinking, okay, well, what does this mean? If they have a $7.5 billion potential revenue, what does this mean for their share price? So I wanted to pull some comps. So Shopify's price to sales ratio is about 60, 62. Now, a lot of people think that Shopify's price to sales ratio is really high, but I would say Virgin Galactic could have a similar price to sales ratio if they do what they're expecting to do. However, if we look at another company, let's just look at Tesla. They are around a price to sales ratio of 16. Facebook is a price to sales ratio of about 10. I think that it'll probably be somewhere around Tesla, maybe closer up to Shopify's if they have the kind of growth and are able to scale up to the point where they have just that $7.5 billion worth of revenue. However, I would say too, there is a larger and larger market every year. Like we said, there are a lot of people with $1 to $10 million that would probably be willing to put $250,000 into one of these tickets. There are more and more people with millions and tens of millions of dollars every year. So I think this will continue to push up the revenue each year. And as they scale up, as they are able to lower the cost of these vehicles, of the different spaceships, it will make it cheaper and cheaper for them. So I could see, let's just be really conservative at a price to sales ratio of 8. So half that of Tesla's. Well, at a price to sales ratio of 8, that would mean that the market cap would be about $60 billion. That means the company has a potential upside of about 13x. And, this might take 5 to 10 years. This is a longer term play in my mind, but that is an awesome return if that actually materializes. Now, of course, we have to take a look at some of the short-term catalysts too. I said that we would do that earlier in the video. And short-term, we do have some exciting stuff coming up. So Virgin Galactic is set to launch its first suborbital space flight from Spaceport America this month. So starting October 22, the window is open where they can send up that flight. And they're going to do 2 of these. If they're both successful, then they're actually planning on sending up Richard Branson, who is kind of the face of the company. If they can send up one of the people that is so important to this company and really show his excitement and show what the company can do and the confidence that they have as a company by sending up Richard Branson, I think that's going to be huge for the stock price in the short term. Now, of course, like I said, I think this is a longer term play, not saying that it won't go up a lot short term, but I imagine this as being a really good company over the next 10 to 15 years. Now, of course, I'm not a financial advisor, so do your own research. This is more speculative than a lot of other plays out there, assuming that they can do all this, but there is a huge, huge potential in this company. Thank you guys so much for watching this. I appreciate it. If you guys want, you can use the link down below to WeBull, get 2 free stocks, and then sell it and buy some Virgin Galactic. Let me know your thoughts on Virgin Galactic in the comments below. Thank you for hitting the like button, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.